Biggest complaint I had with Prime Inc. as a lease operator is not what you might think, because when it comes to like all the costs and whatnot, it's something I was fully aware of because I read the contract. I knew what I was getting into, so none of it surprised me. But there is one thing that's really annoying. You have to excuse me. This is going to be a low effort video, so I'm just going to prop up the camera. But one of the biggest things that was extremely annoying was something that one of my friends pointed out. He trained with a dispatcher for a company called Young's in Fresno, and he's pretty soon going to be my dispatcher, since I'm in the process of setting up, well, not setting up a fleet. I'm in the planning stages. But what happened is like I got a load. Okay, you're going to be picking up in Aurora, Colorado, and you're going to be taking it to Miami, Florida. But the thing is, I might be in Salt Lake City, and like I'm going to be deadheading so many hundreds of miles. And the one thing he always said is, hey, where are you going? I'm like, oh, I got to pick up in Aurora. Where are you at right now? And he always said the same thing. Why the hell is there so much deadheading? What the hell is going on? At Young's, we always had drivers. Like if you had to drive for 500 miles to a pickup, we found them something small. And this is something I wasn't aware of until like a few months in. Because this is just with mega carriers. But the reason my gripe was with Prime is because that's where I was at the time. But basically, mega carriers have the biggest contracts with the biggest retailers, and they're going to prioritize them. It was very rare when we had loads that came from actual load boards. So like they could easily go through like DAT, truckstop.com, 123 loads. Occasionally I got something from Uber Freight, but I noticed that that's something they never did, and it's a mega carrier thing. They're going to prioritize their company contracts. They got contracts with Walmart. They got contracts with Costco. Other carriers that do dry van, they got contracts with like Home Depot and whatnot. This is one of the things I noticed was so much deadheading. And I thought, well, if I do the math, then technically I'm still making, you know, like $2 per mile, $2.11 per mile. But then after a while, like it started to come back. Hey, wait a minute. The load is calculated based on the distance between the shipper and the receiver. So like I am getting screwed. And I know this sounds stupid. Keep in mind, I realized this well over a year ago, okay? So this isn't something that just dawned on me. But I noticed this and I'm like, why the hell? Like, it's not making sense. Like, just pull up DAT and find me something to get me to and from. And then once it clicked, I realized what was happening. Now, of course, I still had like the contract. I still wanted to keep going because like the bills were paid. But that would have, if that was the case, that would have taken the expenses I had and made the margins easier to deal with because the revenue would have been higher. So when I had months where the revenue was great and I was making team driver paid by myself, was very short-lived, and then I was kind of forced into team driving to keep the revenue up, which I didn't like to do. I didn't want to. You know, my two students were cool as hell. We're still friends, but like I didn't want to do that. And then once things started to click into place, I did the math. I'm like, okay, well, if I stay here and fulfill my contract all the way to the end of the 3 years so I can have a smaller balloon payment to keep the truck will already have like over 300,000 miles on it. The maintenance reserves I have to put aside will already be that much higher. And then it reached a point where I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter that I read the contract. It doesn't matter that I knew what I was getting into because I did. It's like knowing how much more money I could have made it to where the cleaning and the repair bill I'm gonna get is gonna be dwarfed by the amount of money I make doing it by myself. And plus, I mean, anybody who's seen my previous videos already know the reason I leased in the first place was because of circumstances that kind of pushed me towards it. Long story short, injured at local job. I had to go OTR again because of a manual restriction, which I'm still working on removing. It's surprisingly difficult for some reason, and not the testing or the application process. Literally like because of my work now and time, but that's a whole other story. I'm gonna make way more money doing it by myself and just being at a local job, and then I'm gonna have the freedom to see my family every day, which was the main reason for my decision to turn in the truck. Like my bills were paid. I was actually living quite comfortably. My wife didn't have to work. She was able to be a full-time stay-at-home mom. But ultimately, it ended up not being worth it in the long run when I realized, well, I did what I set out to do. I made the money I needed to make to bounce back. There's no reason to keep doing this. So I turned in the truck, got the cleaning and the repair bill, which was like, I'm gonna go into detail on that because like I don't remember what the exact number was, but I accomplished the goal. There was no point in keeping on doing it. But yeah, deadheading. lots and lots of deadheading, which meant there was so much more revenue I was missing out on. And I was slapping myself for not realizing this a lot sooner. Because I would, like I said, I would do the math. If I'm getting this much per mile and it's decent, then technically it is worth it. But it's like I just deadheaded, you know, 300, 400. I once deadheaded 700 miles because there was no freight around there. But like I said, again, to beat a dead horse, they weren't combing through other load boards. That's like a last minute ditch effort thing. The one time I got it from Uber Freight, it was a dry load. They just had me turn the reefer off. But yeah, that's it. Low effort video.